for a session presented by Allianz Partners. Please welcome the Chief Officer for Travel at Allianz Partners, Anna Kofoed, in conversation with Skift Vice President Jeremy Cressman.
Hey Anna, it's so great to have you again at Skift Global Forum. You and I spoke at last year's event, so this is a sequel of sorts. I hope we can live up to the hype. We're talking again about travel insurance. You and I, you've used some different terms and we prepped for this. Trip protection, travel companion, we'll get to that hopefully later. To start though, Anna, put us in the right frame of mind. Can you tell me about a really bad travel experience you've had? What happened? How did you deal with it? And hopefully there was still a good outcome, I hope.
Yeah, so I think there's probably not a person in this room, we all travel a lot, that have not been stuck in some kind of travel situation. I definitely have many, but actually just recently, end of August, I was with my family in California and we live in Madrid and needed to fly back home, and many of you experienced it, it said delayed, and 9 hours later, the flight was canceled. And then the fun begins, right? Which I have to say, it got a bit stressful, quite chaotic. Flying back to Europe end of August when everybody's flying home from their holidays is rough.
I'm so sorry.
So getting rebooked was not easy, and ended up taking us 3 days, staying at hotels. We actually ended up in Barcelona instead of Madrid, got a high-speed train, but we made it home, and the good news was my son, I'm originally from Denmark and he lives there, and he managed to get his flight to Denmark so he could go to university. But yes, it was a real long trip.
That is a really challenging story, but I think all of us can relate to this, right? We've all had a travel mishap that's occurred to us. I'll share one of my own. I was skiing in Japan. I was not a very good skier. I fell and hurt my shoulder. You can only imagine what it's like to be in Japan and try and figure out the medical system there, try and navigate like medical terms, Japanese language, a whole range of challenges, right? Anna, thinking about respective mishaps, did your experience give you new insight into the mind of the customer? And what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, I was thinking, if this is tough, chaotic, stressful for me, what is it like for somebody who doesn't travel as much and who is not part of the travel industry as we are, right? So I think we learn from our own experiences, we learn from speaking to travelers, our own customers, but we also learn from research we do with you.
Yeah, we actually did some research recently. Why don't we put up the QR code?
So I think one of the things that I think probably many of you also experience is that travelers are becoming more impatient. If there are gaps in the experience, it's not really tolerated. We want it to be quick, seamless, and proactive. No, we want travel players to be proactive, and we take that very seriously. And I think that as a travel industry, we need to connect more between the brands that operate in the travel industry. And then, of course, a topic that's close to my heart, which is it shows how important travel protection is, both for you when you had your incident, but also for me, right? It ends up being expensive with hotels, high-speed trains, being away 3 days more. So definitely important. And I think what we're seeing from the research is actually interesting, and we're having it reconfirmed again that it's the younger generations that have more propensity to get travel protection.
Yes.
Probably a surprise to many people.
And we see here a stat from the research that we recently conducted that shows that younger generations are more inclined to purchase trip protection. Why do you think that is?
I think it's to do with, if you think about their disposable income, it's lower usually, and therefore it's a big percentage of the money they spend when they go on a holiday, no? I think that's one, and I also think they're very, very aware of the disruption that we see in the travel industry, and they want to protect themselves against that.
Yeah, they acutely are aware of the uncertainty of the world and of travel in general. Okay, Anna, I have kind of a controversial question for you. A lot of people see an insurance company up here on stage at this event, and they think, what's the point? Even if I buy this, I probably will not use it. If I do use it, maybe it's a hassle to make a claim, or it's going to take a long time. How do you respond to a statement like that? Is there truth there? What do you say to anyone that thinks that way?
So it may sound a bit strange, but coming from an insurance executive, but we want to pay claims.
You heard it here first, folks.
we actually see a very clear correlation between customer loyalty and us paying claims. And I think the best initiative we've had this year in that regard, or one of the good ones, was with Allianz Partners. And we actually do what we call proactive benefits. So what we do is we track Alaska's flights in real time. So if you are delayed and you land, we will send you a message immediately when you land and say that we will pay you for your delay.
Wow.
So that it's not even about filing a claim, it's basically just happening because we are proactively helping you. And I think we've taken that from a lot of the research we've done of really seeing that travelers expect us to do better, expect us to be proactive.
Right, and in that moment when you're stressed and don't know what to do, that proactivity really, really matters. Anna, I'm stuck on this idea of the fast and easy aspect of this. You're already seeing someone that's delayed, proactively giving them, you know, the benefit of whatever claim that they may need to make. That brings me to this topic of the digital experience, right? You know, we hear a lot in our stage discussions. Rafat brought it up yesterday. We'll hear it over the next 2 days about AI and how that's becoming a factor for customer service, thinking about how to manage your relationship with the customer. Is this part of how you pay these claims faster? And if so, how do you balance that with the human element of this, right?
I think that's extremely important to us. That is not one or the other, it's both, right? So we've really, since we spoke last year, we've done a lot in AI, and today 65% of our claims are automated and done with AI, and that means we can just pay faster. No, we're not talking about days on most of our claims, we're talking about hours, which makes a real difference.
And these are pretty much the situations where it's like, okay, this clearly is a claim, you can pay it really quick.
Yeah, and what is also important is to say that if we do deny a claim, actually, we will have a human being checking it.
Right.
So it's to make it fast, but also we really want to make sure that we do it right.
Right.
And then what we also have, and I talked a bit about it last year, is that we have an app that's Allianz, and we're very proud to see.
Let's show a video of that Allianz app and explain some of the functionality of that.
So it's really great. It's travelers that buy travel protection from us can download it, and we have added a lot of different services in there. It's easy access to your policy, easy access to being able to do claims, but also what we've seen that's really being used by travelers when they're abroad is if you have a medical topic, a medical issue. Then you can go there, you can find a digital doctor, speak your own language, or you can get an appointment with a doctor that is in the country, but with a language that you can speak. So really helping travelers, and we're seeing great uses of that. So already now, in the US, we have 1 million customers that are using the app, and globally 3 million. So it's really adding a lot of value. But again, it's not just that, it's also the human element. So because of all these initiatives, we also have freed up a lot of our people to be able to really help travelers when they have stressful situations, when it gets complex. If it's serious medical issues, we are there, and we have doctors that will actually fly out and get you home.
It's such an important point about AI is that it's often freeing up people to actually do the really important customer service moments where it can't be handled in that automated way. And I want to switch gears and talk to you about loyalty. Loyalty is such a hot topic in the industry. A lot of times when we talk about loyalty in travel, we talk about perks. We talk about getting into a lounge, getting a free flight, you know, upgrading your room. Everybody wants loyal customers, but I think Allianz is conceiving of loyalty with its customers a little bit differently. Can you explain how you think about loyalty at Allianz?
Yeah, I think it's we've many stories, of customers that we help, but there is one particular that I like, which is an agent that's actually called Marianne, and the story goes back 17 years of when she helped a couple where they were in Myanmar. The husband had a heart attack. We helped them to get to Bangkok, get treatment, and then we managed to get the couple home. And it's an incredible story. I get goosepimples when I think about it, because that couple every year send a picture to Marianne showing what they look like every year and how they progress, because they're so thankful. And I think what I believe in when it comes to loyalty is, yes, the perks are important and they add value, but what really adds value is when we are there with our different companies, when things don't go the way that travelers expected, when they're in trouble, or that we create delight, which is what we're doing with our proactive claims. So I think both those are very important to loyalty, and that's what we see. We repatriate 23,000 people every year, and they become very loyal to Allianz Partners.
Yeah, you really build an incredible bond with another human being when you get help in a situation like that, right? And this also comes back to the research that we mentioned earlier. Anna, I know that we found we polled the consumers about loyalty. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, so what we are seeing is that travel protection actually as part of loyalty programs really makes sense. 72% say that they have a bigger likelihood to sign up for a loyalty program if they have travel protection included. And also feel, and I think that's important, that travel brands that include travel protection, the traveler feels that they care more, no? And that's why we work with so many different partners that incorporate us into their booking path and into their offering, because it really shows that the company cares. So the example of Alaska Airlines, it feels good. The traveler will not just think that they're getting service from Allianz Partners, they also think that Alaska is caring about them when they are delayed. So
it's such an important point. It's value add to the consumer, but it's also value add to the partners that are offering this service to their customers. Anna, we have a little bit of time. I wanted to ask you about your use of the term insurance, because when we think about Allianz, we think, okay, insurance, but you often use very different terminology to describe what you offer. You talk about trip protection, travel companion. Why do you use that phrasing to describe it, and why is that different than calling this insurance?
Yeah, I think the insurance is you could say the financial part. No, it's me being in California and having to cover all the costs that I have related to the fact that my flight got canceled. But then it's also about the protection. It's also about the being there with medical assistance when it's needed, us flying out doctors to wherever you are in the world and making sure that you can get home safe. But then I think we take it to another level where we really want to be the travel companion, which is pre, during, post-trip.
Sure.
You can also use, and that's where Lease really comes into play. And what I've talked about already is where it is today, but actually where it's going is also using AI in Allianz with conversational AI. So one of the key topics and reasons why people also call us is to ask, am I covered? So I knew that when I was in California that I was covered, right? This is my job. But many people don't know, right? So if your flight is canceled and it's for weather reasons, then what can I do and what can't I do? And what we want to do is that with free text in Allianz, you can just ask the question, my flight is delayed, what am I covered for? What can I do? What should I do? And you will have that answer at your fingertips.
I think helping people when they need it is just such an important point to end on. Anna, thank you so much. You can download this report that we've just launched using QR code on the screen.
Thanks you very much. Great.